This video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Hey y'all, it's me, Busburly Petrus, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the root of all evil, me, and my hot twin, Money. Let's give it up for Money. Now, real life money stuff is boring, but it's exciting when we talk about it in terms of drag queens, so that's what we'll be doing. Over the past almost 15 years now that RuPaul's Drag Race has been gracing our televisions, the US and All Stars franchises have awarded over $4 million in cash prizes and some small percentage of cash equivalents to, by my count, 123 drag queens that have competed on the various seasons, which by the way is over $33,000 per contestant had they evenly divvied it up. But they didn't. Which is of course why we're here today, to find out how over $4 million was distributed and divvied up across the 23 existing seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race US and All Stars. And we've got a lot of charts, graphs, and numbers, oh my, to go over today, scraped by yours truly from across the web using a Python script. Girl boss. So let's go ahead and get started. But first, did I catch you browsing the internet without a VPN? Meaning all of your internet browsing data is unencrypted and unsecured? Well, have no fear. Surfshark VPN, the sponsor of today's video, is here. Start downloading Surfshark right now by using the link in the description of my video. Then connect to any one of their over 3,200 secure servers around the globe in just one click. And just like that, your internet browsing traffic is secure, encrypted, and anonymous. And not only can Surfshark help keep you safe while you're browsing the internet, but Surfshark can also help you unlock geo-restricted content on your favorite streaming platform. For example, this streaming platform shows every season of RuPaul's Drag Race to viewers in Argentina, which means with just one click, you can surf on over to Argentina and catch up on Drag Race France, Drag Race Mexico, and all the other seasons. And guess what, Mimi? Surfshark makes browsing the internet pretty again with their clean web ad and pop-up blocker that can even get rid of those annoying cookie questions all over every website. Plus, you can use Surfshark on all of your devices with unlimited device login. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description of my video to start downloading Surfshark right now. And when you do, make sure to use code Bussy to get 3 extra months of Surfshark for free. And best of all, there's no risk in just trying it out because Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. Thanks Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. So first up, we've got some simple data tables showing US season numbers in one and All-Star season numbers in another next to the amount of total cash prize money that was distributed to queens in those respective seasons. And here's where I'll go ahead and add the disclaimer that my prize money totals are only representing prizes with numeric amounts that were announced by the show itself. For example, in season 2's $28,500 data point, we've got the $25,000 grand prize, which was ultimately awarded to Tyra Sanchez, as well as things like the $1,000 shopping spree Tatiana won to $1 billion babes for the Snatch Game episode. More like $1,000 babes, am I right? The prizes not represented by my cash money totals include things like the collection of M. Clifford Designs designer bags that Tyra Sanchez won, and as another example, the non-disclosed amount of shopping spree that Raven won to an LA Eyeworks. And while I'm sure some of those prizes were nice, many of them are just impossible to quantify because either the businesses don't exist anymore, or we simply never got to actually visually see what the queens were given. Like, what does M. Clifford consider a collection of bags? 2, 3, 100? Who knows? But yeah, in the early days of the US seasons, not a ton of cash prize going out aside from the ultimate grand prize. Like season 4 had, of course, the grand prize of $100,000 that Sharon won, but it had just one cash valued prize that Sharon also won. And when we zoom out to look at seasons plotted against their prize money totals, we do immediately see that there's a general trend of this prize money increasing from year to year, at least in the regular US seasons 1 to 15. I mean, we've gone from a season-wide cash and cash equivalent prize package of like $22,500 in season 1, all the way up to $317,500 in season 15. The All-Stars prize totals, on the other hand, definitely have gone up over time from season 1's $100,000 total to All-Stars 8's enormous $415,000 cash money total across all of the queens. But that middle chunk of seasons was pretty consistently at about the same amount of prize money given out. I'll also remind you here that the All-Stars 4 data point looks a little odd as it's much higher than the years before and after it. But that's because Bruce somehow happened to find an extra $100,000 laying around in her pocket to crown both Trinity and Monet with that year. Getting back to prize totals, totals, though, for the regular US seasons, we do begin to see some increases, beginning with season 7. It was at this point the once then standard $5,000 cash prize for winning Miss Congeniality was established. And it's in these seasons of 8, 9, 10, and 11 that we also begin to see a new trend of bigger cash value sponsored prizes. But just looking in season 10 alone, for example, we've got like $11,000 worth of Maxi Challenge gift cards and $13,000 worth of Mini Challenge gift cards, which is really nice for the queens because prior to season 10, Mini Challenges rarely, if ever, had prizes. And when they did, they might have been something really simple like you get to pick your teams, or you might have gotten to use a phone to call home like Ivy Winters did in season 5. And we do see season 11 become the absolute peak of this sponsored prize stated cash value stuff with like $50,000 of stated cash value in sponsored prizes, which really begins the trend of modern Drag Race seasons redistributing the prize wealth across many more queens than ever before. Like just doing some simple math, the grand prize of $100,000 in every season prior was like at least 80% of the total cash prizes given out. And when we finally do hit season 12, we actually start to see the trend of every single queen going home with some kind of cash prize in their pocket. Season 12 awarded $50,000 of cash prizes to queens just for winning challenges, and they've actually been doing this thing where they'll award like $2,000 to every single queen at the finale except the final 4 or except Miss Congeniality. And with all of this money flying everywhere all at once, we have queens like Jada, who ends up taking home the crown and $100,000, having a total compensatory prize package of $117,000. And queens like Gigi Good, for example, who takes home over $25,000 with her 4 wins across the series. And when you start combining wins with something like, let's say, Miss Congeniality, you can end up with a cool $17,000 check like Miss Heidi in Closet, which, by the way, also represents a much more fair sharing of all of this prize money, where the grand prize in season 12 was like 52% of the total prize package versus, you know, the earlier seasons 90, 95, 100. And moving into seasons 13, 14, and 15, we only see these prize packages going up, up, up. Our winner in 13, Simone, brings home $120,000 for her grand prize win and 4 challenge wins. And Rosé, a final 4 contestant, takes home $15,000. Olivia Lux takes home $12,000, and Gottmik $10,000. And from season 13 to 14, we see a total prize package across the series increase by like $100,000. Willow Pill in season 14, our winner, took home $150K base grand prize, plus $5K for a win, $2.5K for a mini, and $2K as a finale thank you tip. And Lady Camden, the runner-up for the season, takes home a $50K base runner-up prize, plus another $17,000 in maxis and minis. And at the time, this cash prize actually made Lady Camden the highest paid in prizes queen of the franchise who wasn't a winner. And moving into season 15, we don't see that runner-up thing happen again, but it very well could have just been a little transition to help the audience jump from 100 for a prize to 150 to now 200, which we ultimately see Sasha Colby take home when she wins season 15. And it wasn't just 200,000, actually. There was an additional 22 grand that she took home on top of that for Maxi Challenge wins and some $2,000 finale tip. We're also at a point now where everyone is walking home with something in their pockets, which is ultimately the best thing for all the queens. All-Star seasons, on the other hand, though, have done a pretty good job of awarding prize money to more than 1 or 2 queens across their 8 seasons. Not always, but in most. And this was because of the Lip Sync for Your Legacy $10,000 cash tip introduced with All-Stars 2. In All-Stars 2, 7 queens got to say they won some form of cash valued prize. In All-Stars 3, 6. In All-Stars 4, 7. There is one really funny, or I don't know, tragic example of terrible cash prize distribution in the All-Stars dataset. And it's All-Stars 5. We see $130,000 going to Shay, $40,000 going to Miss Cracker, and then like $2,000 worth of gift cards each going to Blair and Jujubee. You're like, oh. Which I want to be clear about. I'm not complaining that Cracker and Shay won so much money. I'm just complaining that there were decisions made on the show that allowed so many queens to leave without a cash prize. Which, by the way, is another great point against Lip Sync Assassin Twist. It's bad. It's terrible. Y'all know I don't like it. But this data, I think, proves why it can be so terrible for the cast of All-Stars queens. All-Stars 6, 7, and 8 definitely reversed that little oopsie they made, though. And they seem to mostly manage doing that by adding Maxi Challenge cash value or cash prizes in addition to these lip sync tips that do also roll over. Plus, we see the total All-Stars prize package increase from $174,000 in All-Stars 5 to $415,000 in All-Stars 8. But even though All-Stars 6 did balance out a lot of the cash problems with the Maxi Challenge cash win issuing, they do have major issues again with the Lip Sync Assassin prizes. We actually see Ginger Minj take home $63,500 as a runner-up in All-Star 6. But it's because she has these two mega lip sync wins of $30,000 and $20,000 in addition to the Maxi Challenge prizes and a little mini challenge tip here as well. And again, I'm definitely not saying Ginger shouldn't have won this money or criticizing her getting it, but look at the chart. We again see a lot of queens go home empty-handed on All-Star 6 when this simply wasn't the case in some of the earlier seasons where we didn't have this format. RuPaul's Drag Race legends like Pandora Box, Yara Sofia, Jiggly Caliente, and of course Serena Chacha all go home with $0. And that's not fair. And then we have All-Star 7, which for the most part is very fair across the board, I would say. In terms of cash prize awarding, almost everyone gets something, except Evie Oddly. Poor Evie. Plus, this is all winners and the stakes are higher than ever. We also have a $200,000 cash prize that Jinx, of course, ends up taking home. Which, by the way, is in addition to the other $32.5 thousand she wins from Maxis and Minis. However, we do see this twist come in at the last minute where there is now a She Done Already Had Hers' bracket happening along with the main All-Stars All Winners title occurring. And we run into this prize distribution occurrence, which to me feels a little awkward. The winner's bracket, if you will, is essentially competing for $200,000 in the title at this point, and it comes down to Jinx and Monet. The other queen's bracket is essentially competing for $50,000. And that title. And what ends up happening is we have Jinx with this huge cash prize of $232,000 and the Monet left as runner-up, only taking home $10,000. And, you know, we have Raja taking home $50,000 or $60 with her win, actually, right? And it's interesting, maybe with things like this and in the Fame Games, things that we see in All-Stars 8, queens will maybe start to work on different strategies because they're realizing runner-up is kind of not a great place to be in terms of prizes. You actually maybe want to be like fourth alternate or something because, girl, there's a big check waiting right there. But yeah, this total prize pool of $364K is a new franchise record. And then All-Stars 8 beats it the very next year. $415,000 $2. In the top 4 of All-Stars 8, we see Jimbo take home $230K, Candy $40K, Jessica Wilde $38, and then Alexis $17.5. And just looking at this top 4, this feels like a pretty fair or expected distribution of prize money. Plus, we also know that every single queen this season walks away with at least $500 in their pocket, except for Heidi, who did drop out and was not qualifiable for that. But going home with at least $500, even if you're first out, it just makes you feel a little bit better. But the one outlier in the All-Stars 8 prize data set is La La Ree, and she ends up winning the Fame Games, which, look, I didn't love the execution of this Fame Games twist, but it's really, again, crazy that somebody who essentially is like 5th out in terms of a competition standard is ultimately winning more money than 1st, 2nd, and 3rd runner-up. So now let's zoom out one last time again and look at the big numbers. Across all 15 seasons of the show's main series history, we've seen a grand total of $2,121,000 distributed in cash or cash value equivalents, where the majority is actually just cash of $1,978,500 and $142,500 of cash value gift cards or prizes. But of that bigger 2.1 something mil, we see it break down like this. About 1.5 million of that 2.1 million is actually grand prize money, which roughly comes out to 71.66% of money being distributed in those grand prizes, which I did also include Lady Camden's 50K here. I didn't really know where else to put it. And then we see 69,000 or 3.25% of the total money given out represented as congeniality cash prize, and $338,000 or roughly 16% given out as Maxi Challenge cash or cash equivalent prize money. Girl, she's getting tired. And 96,000 or about 4.5% given out as mini challenge cash and cash value prizes, and 98,000 or 4.62% in other cash prizes, which in the US seasons are how I'm counting the special finale tip money that they've been giving out for the past 3 or 4 seasons. And then looking at All-Star seasons, we see that RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars has awarded contestants $2,007,000 across its 8 seasons. And about 1.9 million of that is in actual cash, or 95% 5%, and the other 94,000-ish in cash value equivalents. But of that big 2 million number, 1.1 million, or about 55%, is grand prize money. 110,000, or 5.5%, is special prize money, as I'm calling it for All-Stars, where we see people like Raja winning for She Done Already Had Herses and La La Ree for Fame Games, and $763,000, or 38%, being represented as lip sync tip cash prize and maxi challenge cash prize or cash equivalents. Another 1% of money in this bucket is mini challenge cash prizes and other cash prizes, which for All-Stars represents that $10,000 they gave out at the finale to make sure everyone went home with something in their pocket. And when we compare that data, I think it's really interesting to see that All-Stars is only about $100,000 shy of what the main US series has awarded to all of its queens. And that was done in 7 less seasons, which means they're awarding money at almost twice the rate that the main series is doing so. And also in comparing this data, we see a very different strategy in terms of where cash prizes have been distributed. The main US series has awarded a much larger percentage of its cash prize money via grand prizes, 72% versus All-Stars 55%. And we see that slack, of course, being made up for in All-Stars with the lip syncs and maxi challenge cash prize wins. Which, as I was pointing out as we were going, ultimately in All-Stars originally made for a more even distribution of money. But now that the main series is slapping minimum $2,000 in everyone's pockets, they're actually much more fair at that. And looking at our numbers together, we have a grand total of $4,128,000 in cash and cash value prizes awarded by 15 seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race and 8 seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars, for a grand total of $3,891,500 of actual cash taken home by queens, where the other 236.5 was cash value. And these are not insignificant sums to be discussing. Could it be more? Sure, yes, it could always be more, and it should be more, right? But all this money is super significant and special because it still is a ton of money for networks and sponsors to be investing into what is ultimately a queer art that's being upheld and maintained in this mainstream space. But as the series pushes forward, I 100% want to see them continue to push for equity in cash prizes and even payment for being there on the show to make sure that everybody who's participating in this art form feels supported. So drag queens who have been on the show, thank you for your service. And drag queens who haven't, thank you for your service. And finally, I want to say thank you so much for watching today's video and give an extra special shout out to today's video sponsor, Surfshark, who you can check out and get 3 months for free when you click the link in the description of my video. Just use code Bussy during checkout. And I want to give an extra special shout out to the Mad Hatter and Leo, who just joined my Patreon at the hot tier, and Ashley Brungard, Dorothy Hall, Felicia, Frankie, Jeffrey Steenberg, Laura, Lisette, Matthew Burns, Taylor, Sharky, Steven Topher, Tyler Hendricks MD, and Will and Tana, who are all supporting me in my Bussy Queen Collector tier over at patreon.com/BussyQueen. Love ya, bye. Let's give it up for money. Make that really funny.